Hi guys, I hope everyone is doing great. So today we will talk about something that touch every one of you, every one of us, if you are in the reptile community, and it is about sheds and what is shed, how does this snake shed, for example, etc. Let's go. What are sheds? Sheds are like, if you want the scales of your snake is like clothes for you, like here my sweatshirt for example, and the actual skin of the snake is your skin actually. And you know, when you're growing, for example, you have to change clothes because it doesn't fit you anymore. It's too small, it's too short, the sleeves aren't good enough, etc, etc. So you have to change and buy. When it comes to us, buy other clothes. When it comes to snakes, actually they change their skin, their scales, so their clothes, if you want, every month, 2 months, 3 months, depending on the age, depending on the growth, and depending on this feeding schedule and all another a lot of different parameters that are super scientific that I'm not going into because it's super complicated. The thing is, snakes have bad sheds. If you want to see how to help your snake, here it is. They have good sheds. So what does make a good or bad shed? Well, a lot of things. First, for example, let's take my enclosures here. For example, here, Aoda and Garaga. For example, if all they had was this is like flat, you know, no ridges, nothing. Like here, for example, this wouldn't help them to shed. This will help to have a bad shed actually. If you want to be a bit extreme, because it can work, but let's be a bit visual and extreme to help visualize everything. For example, the substrate can help. For example, here having like a branch, like having something that they can rub against to, you know, to have, like, for example, your clothes and you're busy, you want to shed, and you have your clothes that is going like this and it stays, you know, while you're advancing it stays, and you can go up and up and up and up, you know, and you can take them off, so they take their scales off if you want, you know, their clothes, if you want to say it like this. So how can you help them? Because snakes can have bad sheds, they can have good sheds. What is a bad shed? A bad shed is when they actually not shed when they have to, or when they just don't shed in one piece. They shed in pieces, in many pieces, and some are still on the snake. For example, if you want to see how to help your snake shed when it has bad shed, here it is, guys. It's one of the first video of the channel. If you want to rewatch this one, let's go. But after this one, so what does make a good shed? A good shed is a lot of parameters, but there are two main parameters that you can help. The first, well, three, let's say. The first one is hydration, and actually two or one, because hydration, you know, you have hydration through your skin. Snakes have that too. And you have humidity, for example, and they have also while drinking. So if a snake is well hydrated, it will help to shed. It will shed better than a snake that is dehydrated, which is normal. When it comes to humidity, for example, a snake that will shed perfectly at 70%, if it is at 20%, it won't shed great, because how can I say it to visualize it? The surface of the skin, the surface of the shed won't be hydrated, and the liquid between the actual shed that you have in hands, which I will show you later, and the actual snake is not liquid enough if you want something visualized. And yeah, so if this liquid is not liquid actually enough, well, your snake can shed good or in one piece. Okay. So good humidity is important. Of course, if it says like between 60 and 70%, for example, if you're at, for example, 58 or 75, it's not a big deal. Always, it's just a range. But for example, a 70 to 80% snake needs, they can have like 20% humidity. That's not enough. For example, you have tanks like corn snakes, like carpets, that will allow this a little more than ball pythons, for example. But yeah, so the main thing you can help them is hydration. And what do I mean by hydration is that, for example, the water bowl is always clean and fresh and stuff. If you have, for example, a snake that only drinks from droplets when you spray, be sure to spray enough so they can drink enough. For example, I think about a green tree python, for example, emerald tree boas, for example. And because they don't drink from still water, you know, and it's the same for lizards, for example. But lizards, they don't shed in one piece. That's something else. Here, let's talk about snake shed. So humidity helps, drinking helps, and for example, if you have a snake, like for helping bad sheds, preventing bad sheds, what you can do, but don't do it every time. You have to, you know, there's a lot of different ways. What I do, for example, sometimes when I see that snake is didn't shed well the 2 or 3 times ago, then I will make a bath for them at 25 degrees Celsius to, you know, hydrate their skin, and which is something that helps. I've seen that because I've tried it already with, for example, here Kaguya, which is in shed actually, and here she is, you know, she is in shed, as maybe you can see or maybe not. And how do you see a snake in shed? Well, there is a multiple stages as sheds, and also it depends on how well you know your snake. For example, the thing that everyone knows about snake shed is the blue mode, the zombie mode, whatever you want to call it. This is the mode where the eyes are cloudy and stuff. So this is when they are like not in the last part of the cycle, but let's say they're before that last shed cycle. And when they clear up their eyes, they're gonna shed in maybe the week after the cloudy eyes and going back to normal. But how do you see if a snake is in shed? Well, I'm pausing you, and I'm gonna take Kaguya out so you can see it. So the thing is, when you have a snake in shed, like if you see Kaguya right here, you know, you see she's not in shed. What is a mark of when she's in shed, for example, her, is that, and it's something I saw with all the ball pythons I have, so I don't know, maybe it's something general with ball pythons, but they have quite a pink belly. If you can, wait, maybe you'll see better here. So she has a pink belly, which normally is white, and this is one of the marker of when she's in shed. Another thing when she's in shed is that she is not like shiny. She's a bit shiny when she's normal, or here she's a bit matte. If you want to, you know, yeah, she has a matte coloration, which is also something. And when she is like having her head, like when she crowed up her head, she has some, you know, like she was fat, you know, this thing here. When she looks fat, she's not fat, but she looks fat. And actually it's the skin and the liquid that is going underneath the skin to help shed and to shed. So yeah, let's see how a shed looks like when, you know, they have shed actually. So guys, this is actually what the shed look like. It is Kawaki's shed. He shedded last night. So this is how it looks like when your snake has shed. And now, if you want to see like I'll take him out for a sec, and you'll see that he's a little more shiny that, for example, than it was in shed, for example. So here he is. He has more coloration and stuff, so he's a bit stressed. It's normal. I just wake him up, and it's teeny tiny and stuff. And so yeah, so he is like super more like colorful. Well, for gray and black snake, he's more gray and black, but he's more like, you have better colors after shed, and that's when you see that they have shed, for example. Another example of snake that is in shed here, and I don't know where she is. I will take her. So here she is. This is Sarada, and she's also in shed. So how do I see that she's in shed? I will maybe close that thing. Always close your door, even when the snake is out. And I will show you how I see she's in shed. So with the corn snake, for example, an albino snake in general, with Sukuna, it's the same. So you can't see it very well because if the belly is becoming pink, well, on a white snake or on a pink snake, orangey pink snake, well, you don't see it very well. And how do you see that here Serrata is in shed? Because you can't see that matte coloration. It's when you take her out, for example, their eyes are a little bit more matte than usually. And when you take them, for example, here, you can see like she has more like, she's a soft scale snake, and she looks like she has rough scales a little bit more. This is how I see, for example, for corn snake that are in shed. Another thing is that if she is, curled up, you'll see at her head, you'll see that she has that thing that I was talking about earlier with this looks kind of fat stuff, which is not fat, which is just like the too much of skin, if you want. So I'll let her go. But so she's in shed. So what are the rules when you have a snake in shed? There are multiple rules when you have your snake in shed. So the first one is don't take them out, because the change in humidity between ambient here, which is, for example, here 35%, is not enough for a snake to shed well. So here I did it just like 30 seconds or so to show you, but don't do it. Let them on their own. If there is one moment to 2 moments to let them on their own is after feeding and when they're shedding, because they don't see really well, so they are like a little bit more nervous. Something else is, what are they? They are just like, nervous. They are a little bit more defensive because, or stressed, nervous. Well, they don't see very well. They are in a position where they are more like, they have to concentrate themselves on something that is not eating, that is not like predator and stuff. They have to have a lot of energy in that shedding cycle, so they don't have maybe not the energy for the rest. And this is how it is, guys. This is how it works about shed. I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share. Don't forget USR. Don't forget responsible reptile keepers. I don't remember. Don't forget the Stay Strong Brands group. Don't forget Brickless and Exotic Pets group. And I hope to see you on the next one.